All right, guys. Dreadnought's back today with another review, and we're going to be taking a look at the new DC Collectibles series, the DC Comics Icons. We've got here the last Rites Batman. He is the first figure from the wave and the series. Nice big window here with Batman clearly displayed. All his accessories looking very cool. A Batman icon here in the middle of the icons. Look at the side of the box here. We've got the 01, Batman Last Rites looking pretty good. Nothing much going on that side. Nice bat logo on top here. And then a look at the back of the package here. We can see the other figures from the wave. Looking pretty cool overall. So let's crack this bad boy open and get a look at it. And here's Batman out of the packaging, looking very cool overall, I gotta say. I have not been a supporter of most of what DC Collectibles has put out over the last few years. I've had significant breakage issues. If you're a fan of my channel or you watch my videos, you know the problems that I've had with DC Collectibles. And I am the last guy to sing their praises, I'll be honest with you. So for them to impress me, they have to go really the extra mile here. And I have to say, getting this one out of the box, I was already impressed. Didn't have any breakage issues, didn't have anything feeling like when it came out of the package it was going to break. The plastic, it's not as soft as Marvel Legends, but it definitely doesn't have that brittle feel that we've been getting with DC Collectibles figures. Nothing felt like it was going to snap off as I was getting it out of the package or moving the joints. They were free. I didn't even use a hairdryer or any heat out of the package before moving it. I just went for it and it was fine. And almost has the same feel as a Marvel Legends as far as the plastic. Not quite, but very close. Closer than anything we've gotten from DC Collectibles before. And I just like the look of this character. The scale is a little something to get used to, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But just overall, I think they did a jam-up job with this figure. He just looks very awesome out of the package. I like the color choices, and I like the sculpting. I just, blown away, really. I have to say, I'm eating crow for DC Collectibles here. I really like what they gave us. Speaking to the package just a moment, gone were the twisty ties of what we've seen, like with the animated series figures. There was a simple breakaway piece of plastic that came across the waist that you just pop off and get the figure out. Kind of reminiscent of how you get Marvel Legends out or Black Series out, except for the little plastic strap. A lot easier out of the package than having to sit and you do all the twisty ties. So I like that already. So let's take a closer look at his accessories. All right, and as we look at accessories, it does come with this instruction book or whatever inside that shows like the hand swapping action or whatever. But one thing I saw inside I wanted to show you guys, or here it is on the back. Deadman comes with an accessory because it has all the accessories for all the figures. You can see some of them are going to get figure stands as well. But Deadman comes with this piece that fits over Batman and gives you that look there. And I just think that's really cool. I think that's a cool thing, and it makes me want to get the Deadman figure now. So, I thought that was neat. Up next, we got some Batarangs, looking very cool. Nice sculpt on them overall. They're just kind of a semi-gloss black, but I like the sculpt. They're nice and thick. Got some pointed edges on them. They do have the little circles, I guess, from the mold, so that doesn't look great. But the one thing I want to give them props for is it came with two, and I think all Batman figures should come with multiple Batarangs. I don't ever understand when they don't, especially since you're probably going to lose one. But it came with two. He's got one for each hand or an extra one, just in case. And I thought that was really cool that they did include two. So I like that. He came with two sets of hands, two fists that he's packaged with. And they're nicely sculpted overall. Not much going on. Paint's okay on them. One thing I do want to say is you can see a little bit of blue on my fingertip there. They do have the same paint rub issue on the pegs that we've seen in all the DC Collectibles figures of late. So, that's kind of a bummer. It's not as bad as like the animated series ones, but it is there. And it does seem like it's a different paint on the peg than is out on the actual hand. It's more of a gloss. And that seems to be the problem, that paint that they use on the pegs. I don't know what it is, but it just rubs off. It does come with two open hands as well. And this one actually got a little bit extra paint down in the palm of it, which looks kind of crappy. But, overall, I like the sculpt of them. They look good. Not a whole lot of detail in them. But, overall, I think for what they are, they look okay. And then the Batarangs fit pretty easily in them. as well. And you can get the batarangs in several different poses in the hands, but you know, they do hold them pretty well. So I like that. And the biggest thing that I think DC Collectibles really improved on is putting the hands on the figure. You know, these things go on incredibly easy. Just the best I've ever seen with a DC Collectibles figure. They just pop off real easy. And I'll pop this one off. Nice and simple. See a little bit of that paint rub there. But, you know, pop this one in. Just nice and simple. Snaps right in. No fear of breakage on it at all. Had no problems with it. And just goes right on. And, you know, I think it looks great. You know, so I think they did a great job with how those hands peg in and everything. So that's looking really cool. And then last but not least, comes with another hand with a grappling gun made into it. Sorry about that. And you can see I got a little sloppy with the paint on it. Not a lot of sculpting in this piece. You know, overall, I wasn't real happy with the actual piece here. I do like the fact that when they make the grappling gun into the hand, it makes it more simplified. But just, it didn't get a lot of sculpting. You know, it's just very plain. And then the paint that, you know, they used on it, there's a lot of overspray on it. It just looks really sloppy. The other thing is they've got my grappling gun coming in. I'm going to say grappling gun right sooner or later. But anyway, it comes in from the wrong side. So, you know, he's holding it up like there. I guess he's going to lower it down to Catwoman there. You know, I don't know. But it does have the ball on the other end. And I guess I'll try and figure out a way to swap it around, but to keep it from sliding out. You know, I think it's a cool little accessory, and you probably use it for some poses and stuff. But, you know, the quality control on the actual grappling gun, you know, just didn't come out to me, in my opinion. But overall, I got to say, pretty good accessories, and I like the fact that his hands snap in so easily. And taking a closer look at the sculpting on the figure, the head sculpt came out pretty well overall, I got to say. I like the white in the eyes. I think it came out nice and clean. There's a little bit of black over the eyes for the brow. Some nice little wrinkles sculpted in there above. I like the nose and the mouth. I think the skin tone shade they used came out pretty well. There is a little bit of skin tone paint up on where it should be blue. You can see that on both sides. You know, I kind of hate that. But overall, the rest of it looks very clean. Not a lot of detail here in the back, the short ears. And then looking at the cape in the back, I really like this material they used with the cape. It's very soft, but it holds its shape very well. Has that nice Batman ridge look to it. Just perfect. Looks really cool. Has the wrinkles sculpted in here where it's hanging down, you know, off the shoulders. Looks really good. And there does seem to be a little shadowing in it. You can't really tell, but I don't know if it's a darker blue, and then, but maybe it's just the way it's shaped. But it does give it the look of shadowing in it, which I think came out pretty cool. Looking here at the chest, the bat, super, super clean. You know, it came out perfect on mine. I like that black shade they used versus the gray. And I think this is the perfect shade of gray for Batman's costume. I really like it. These wrinkles sculpted in around, you know, around the joints up here look a little bit weird. I think they were trying to go for the suit, you know, giving wrinkles under his arm, but I think they're a little bit high, you know, on his arm to pull that look off. This one actually looks a little bit better. This one just looks like you got, you know, scratched or something. I don't know. So I'm not a real fan of that. But I like the muscle definition. It looks really good. The wrinkles down in his suit, you know, down here on his belly look good. Looking through the arms, one thing I will say is the joints came out a little bit lighter. And you can tell here there's a little bit of paint rub on them as well. And then down on the knees, you can see the knees actually are a little different shade. This one especially is just a little lighter gray than the rest of the leg. So, you know, maybe they'll improve that as they go. And then we've already looked at the hands. I'm not sure why they put the wings on his gauntlet like that, because really you have to turn they should be on the side. You know, maybe, I guess if you hold his hand like that, it looks all right. It's just his elbow bends like so. So I don't know, something's just not right about that. But anyway, looking at the belt, I like the sculpt of it. I like the pouches. I think they did an awesome job on that. I like the yellow they used, and then the brush with the brighter yellow on it to give it some wear. You know, looks good on the back here. They didn't cheap out on the back. Has that same yellow dry brushing on it. There's a look at his butt. He even has some wrinkles sculpted in there where his costume comes over and around the legs. Looks really good. And they use more of a flat blue down here than on the arms and the feet, which I think came out pretty well. Looks pretty good. And then the legs are sculpted very well. Nice muscle definition. We talked about these joints down here. And there's a look at the boots. Nice gloss black. I think they look very, very Batmanish. I like the crown up here at the top of the boot, and then looking through the back. You know, just not a lot of huge detail in any of it. You know, no shadowing really that's added. You know, there's some dry brushing in a few areas, but still, for what it is, I think it looks very good. Some peg holes at the bottom down there. And, you know, I like it. And if you're like me, you couldn't wait to see the articulation, so let's get to it. One thing I do want to say is the head movement is a little tough at first, but after you move it around a little bit, it does start to move. It rotates around just fine. You can hear it squeaking because it is a little tight. It does have some pivot in there. It moves more to the right on mine than it does the left, but it will pivot. It does not move up that much, and I kind of hate that because with a Batman, you really want it to be able to look up. It does move down a decent amount, not all the way to the chest, but it's okay. It does have upper arm rotation up here, and the arm will rotate all the way around like so. Double jointed elbows, which is really nice, and does have a wrist swivel like so, and does have a very nice hinge on the wrist. Now getting to the chest, it has this weird joint which is like a double crunch in here, and it will crunch forward a pretty good amount, and then it will crunch back a great amount, which is really nice. The only problem is it rotates here as well, so it doesn't really rotate that much. You're very limited on rotation, and then it doesn't rotate at the waist, so you know that's about all you get on rotation. So I'm not a big fan of that. It does pivot up here, so you can get kind of some side-to-side movement, which is nice, but I miss having some waist rotation or full diaphragm rotation there. No upper leg rotation, but the hips move out a great amount. You can get him completely doing the splits there. One thing I want to say is they're very loose. These hip joints are just very, very loose. He'll kick forward a decent amount, and he'll kick back okay. It's not great, but you know, he gets back a little bit. Double jointed knees, which are nice, and you can see how light that joint is that I was talking about earlier. And it does have a cut at the calf at the boot, which I like. And then at the foot, it doesn't rotate, but it does have a hinge, which will move up that far, and it will move down that far. And once you get the rocker going, and it does have an ankle rocker, this thing will go in all kind of directions. It worries me probably more than any joint on the figure is that breaking. But you know, I am glad it does have that rocker. So overall, you know, decent articulation. Just wish it had a little more rotation in here. All right, now let's talk about scale for a moment with this comparison. The first thing that will strike you when you see these guys in person is these figures are extremely small, you know, compared to what we've seen in the past. Now they're supposed to be 6-inch scale, and a lot of people anticipated them, you know, being the same scale as Marvel Legends, which they are not. This guy's measuring in under 6 inches, right about 5 3/4, maybe a little more with his ears there. But you can see the animated series that was supposed to scale in at 6 inches are much bigger than this guy, which is a little out of whack, and it will throw you off. If you plan on collecting these, it will be a new scale, honestly. So it won't be for everybody. And then, of course, this is like the 7-inch from DC Collectibles over here. And just to give you an all-around size comparison here, since scale is the big topic of these figures, we've got our Marvel Legends Bucky cap over here. You can see this guy definitely does not scale with Marvel Legends figures, not only in height, but this guy has much smaller proportions in comparison to our Bucky cap. We've got our old Kenner Batman the Animated Series Jetpack Joker here, and you can see their head's actually almost scale in size, but you know, of course, he's bigger than that. We've got a 3 3/4 inch Stormtrooper from The Force Awakens, and you can see where he scales with that. And then on the end here, a lot of people are interested in the DC Universe Classics. This is our from Mattel, our Superpowers version, and you can see this guy's really the biggest of the bunch. So he doesn't scale with either of these lines And, quite frankly, it's going to bother some people, I understand. But, I don't think it takes away from the figure. All right, and wrapping up, overall, I got to say this figure is definitely a buy. Not perfect. It does have a few issues, but overall, I like the colors. Definitely nice choices they used. Materials-wise is where they really hit it out of the park. A huge improvement in the plastic they're using. I like the plastic of the cape. The sculpt overall is really, really nice. They did a good job with that. If I had to pick, some things apart, it would be the way the gauntlets are. I think they got them a little bit off. Maybe some of the wrinkles are in the wrong place. And then, like the knees being a little light down here. And I'm not a huge fan of this articulation with the without the rotation for waist or whatever. But, that's being really, really nitpicky on this figure. And trust me, I like to be nitpicky with DC Collectibles. It's hard for me to sit here and recommend this figure as a buy after 2 years of grief with them. But, honestly, even if the scale is an issue for you, I have to recommend it as a buy just to try something new, even if it's in a new scale. I think if we were to give a vote to most improved line or most improved, company right now, it has to be DC Collectibles. This is just a huge improvement over what we've been getting from them. It's just completely different. It's like a whole new toy company did these. So I've got to give them props where props are due. And, they've won me back over with this figure, I have to say. Now, if they continue to improve on this line and fix the little things, like the things I nitpicked, getting the knee colors right and things like that, I think this will be a huge line for them. Even though the scale is not what people particularly want in some cases, I still think it'll be a big line for DC Collectibles. If this is the best we get and all the waves go downhill from here, then it probably won't stick around very long. But here's hoping that they continue to improve on it. Like I said, scale. I would have loved to gotten in Marvel Legends scale just like you guys. I like to be able to play those scenes out and do some displays and stuff just like anybody else. But honestly, when it comes to displaying them in my cabinets, I'm going to have my DC figures probably on one shelf and my Marvel on another, and it's not going to be a huge issue for me to have this guy in a little different scale. If the figure's quality and I can get it in some cool poses, and that's what's probably most important to me, and it's not breaking on me. And I think so far, they've hit the nail on the head on those targets. So, like I said, I've got to give them props. I recommend it as a buy. You can get it at a good price right now with a lot of the holiday deals going on. I actually picked this guy up on Amazon, and I know they're at a higher price point, but most of even your comic book shops right now are running Christmas deals. Hastings and stuff are running these guys. I got him on Amazon for like $18, which is the price of a Marvel Legends. And at that price point, I've got no problem buying a new figure from a new line and giving it a shot. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I gave DC Collectibles another chance here, and it proved worthwhile. I definitely probably won't be a completionist on these figures. Not at first anyway. Maybe if I see some more and they really start hitting it out of the park, I may get on board. But I'm definitely going to be looking for some upcoming figures now with a lot more interest than I did, before this review. So, my hat's off to DC for really getting their act together and getting a better product out there. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If so, please give me a big thumbs up. If you like what I'm putting out, please subscribe. We're still trying to build that audience and get those subscribers up. Plenty of more stuff coming out. Plenty more Star Wars, DC, and Marvel content coming up for you guys. So definitely click on that subscribe button. Facebook, Twitter, Toy Art, links in the description below as always. So check us out there. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.